So how long did it actually take me to learn Spanish? This video is so long overdue. What's up, language leaders? Welcome back to another video, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Erica. I am a former Spanish interpreter and translator turned language teacher and coach, and my mission here is to help you love, learn, and live the Spanish language through fun and effective strategies. So if that is what you are trying to accomplish, join the family over here, hit that subscribe button and that bell, and let's get started. Guys, this is crazy. I actually thought that I had made this video before, but as I was scrolling through my videos, I realized that I actually haven't. I've just answered this question so many times in the YouTube comments, in my DMs, and emails all over the place, that I literally thought I had created a video on this before. So it really is way overdue. But even though you guys might think this is a simple question to answer, it's just not. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first attempt to answer this question to the best of my ability, and then I'll tell you why this question does not really matter and what you should be asking instead. All right, now this is going to be a quick version, but I do go into more detail about what I actually had, the tools available to me that I had to learn Spanish, what I did not have, what I think those non-negotiables are for you in order to reach fluency, and how to create your entire plan. So if you're interested in the A to Z picture, then I'm going to invite you to register for my free masterclass. This is a recurring masterclass. You can check out the link below to grab a spot and really get that full picture. But the quick answer to this question is that I know I was comfortable in conversation. You could say I had reached conversational fluency by at least the 1.5 year mark. Okay, so from nothing to that 1.5 year mark, I felt very comfortable in conversation. Now that was fast to say, but I had to think about this so much, because understand that as language learners, there's never a day when we wake up and say, oh, today is the day I'm fluent today. Let me just mark this date on the calendar. No, language learning is a continual, never-ending process. I learn more Spanish all the time, and if you're doing things right and if you're really interested in language, then you should be learning all the time. There should never be an end point. But I do understand the question. I understand that you're interested in knowing, about how long it takes before you're comfortable with the language. The only reason that I'm able to tell you that at about that 1.5 year point, I felt comfortable in conversation in Spanish is because I remembered an important life event that took place that does have a date that I can put on it. And I remembered that prior to that event, I had to speak a lot of Spanish for long periods of time with several different people on varied topics and subjects. That is the only way that I was finally able to come up with this number for you guys of about 1.5 years to conversational fluency, we could say. Now, if I could go back and observe myself speaking during those conversations, I am 100% sure that I would be making way more mistakes than what I would make now, because I have learned so much since then. My Spanish has improved so much since then, but I can tell you that I felt comfortable in conversation at about that point. Now I want to tell you why that doesn't even actually matter. Everyone's definition of being conversational, everyone's definition of being fluent is different. My definition may be a little different than yours. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Fluency is a very ambiguous, hard to measure and define concept. And that's the reason why it just should not be your marker when you're trying to determine how long is it going to take me to learn Spanish. I'll talk in a moment about what those markers should be for you. 2, we have different circumstances. I guarantee that you and I don't have the exact same circumstances. circumstances. My circumstances now are different than my circumstances then when I started to learn Spanish. So the amount of time that it takes someone to reach whatever their definition of conversational fluency is, it's going to probably be different than yours. You could be faster, you could be slower, and doesn't really matter as long as you're continuously progressing and you're able to see your progress. Because of our varied circumstances, we all have different amounts of time that we can actually devote to language learning, and language learning takes a significant amount of time. We also have different levels of urgency. So hobby learners tend to learn a bit slower than those who have a more pressing need to learn a language, and that's just natural. That's just to be expected. Again, it doesn't really matter, but keep your expectations in check. I had no expectations when I was learning Spanish. I never thought about the big picture. It wasn't concerning to me. I was only ever thinking about that next step, that next thing that I needed to actually tangibly be able to do with my Spanish. So that's another reason that I can't give you such a concrete number, because I wasn't thinking about that back then. And I really don't think that you should be concerned about it either. Some of us fall into those routines and those strategies and those patterns of learning behavior, we could say, faster than others. So for some, there's this huge learning curve of trying all of these things and just doing all of these experiments, failing and failing and failing until they finally find either the strategies or the drive or whatever it is that has been keeping them from being able to establish an efficient and effective routine. The whole reason that I do what I do and why I've created the programs that I have is to shorten that learning curve. Understand that there's always going to be an experimental phase, but that experimental phase does not have to last months and years. It doesn't have to take that much time. There are certain overarching principles of language learning that, when applied to people of various circumstances and various different learning styles, they really will work. They will work. So learning from those who have done this before certainly is beneficial, although you should never try to copy exactly what they're doing or expect your results to be exactly the same in the exact same time frame as they say they learned, because again, we all have different circumstances. Far more important than how long it takes you to be conversational or how long it takes you to be fluent is how consistent you are. Consistency is king. It's the classic tortoise and the hare story. Okay, the tortoise won simply because he kept going. It didn't matter that he was slow. And so he actually got to that end result faster than the hare, who had more natural ability to win. So I want you to stop being insecure and stop finding all these reasons why other people can do something that you can't do. Usually it's a matter of finding those strategies that work for you and being consistent at doing it. The natural ability that someone may or may not have is not going to be as important in the end, because we can all learn language. If we've learned one, our native language, then we can learn another. What I want you to ask instead is, what is my very next step? What is my very next goal with the language? A goal is not fluency. A goal is not being conversational. A goal is just that next milestone of what you need to accomplish with the language. So prior to that 1.5 year mark that I'm giving you guys for myself, I could speak fluently about certain subjects because I needed to practice and prepare for those subjects, and I talked about them all the time. And that led to the next thing that I needed to do and the next thing that I needed to do. So if you came in and listened to me speak Spanish about a subject that I was very familiar with at 3-4 months, you might say, oh, she's fluent. But I wouldn't say that because I was still limited as to the topics that I could speak about. But accomplishing one milestone, one topic of conversation, or whatever it was that I was working on, gave me the confidence to know that I could accomplish the next thing. 4.5 years after I started learning, I decided to be a medical interpreter, so I could tell you that at some point prior to that 4.5 year mark, I had reached a very advanced level. See, I can't give you specifics. I can only tell you that by this point, because I'm literally remembering milestones, things that I did. And once you have determined what is your next milestone, what is that next thing you're trying to accomplish, Figure out exactly what you need to do to get there. And then, sure, you can put a date on it. Sure, you can put a date on that goal. And I actually recommend it being pretty short term so that you have it right in front of you. So instead of asking, how long is it going to take me to learn Spanish? Ask yourself, what is my next milestone? What do I need to do to get there? And approximately how long would I like to give myself to accomplish that goal? And it's okay if that goal changes, but having that time frame might actually be what you need to push you just to that next step. Now, I know doing that is easier said than done, especially when it's something that you haven't done before. I've done it many times before, and that's how I actually ended up learning Spanish to fluency. This is what I teach to my students and clients who are not only finding success with their Spanish, but also with their motivation because they have a goal right in front of them. So in my free masterclass, one of the things that I'm going to talk to you about is the importance of setting speaking goals. I'm going to show you exactly what you can do to start speaking fast and confidently. And why do I say fast if I just told you not to worry so much about the speed? Well, because it's always going to be faster than doing it alone. I want to show you exactly what to focus on and when so that you don't lose motivation and you don't lose consistency. Remember, consistency is king. So grab your spot for the free masterclass at the link below. Can't wait to see you there. I'll see you next time, guys, but don't forget to go out and live your new language today. Bye-bye.